It began like any other teenage love story. Late-night messages, promises whispered in the dark, and two hearts convinced that no one else in the world understood them. Chloe and Ethan were inseparable. They met in high school, in a small Ohio town where, supposedly, nothing exciting ever happened. She was the popular girl with a radiant smile and a closet full of dark secrets. He was the quiet, unassuming boy who would have done anything for her. Their connection was electric from the start, obsessive, addictive, and deeply dangerous. To their friends, it looked like a passionate, whirlwind romance. The police, well, they would later call it something else entirely. For months, their relationship was a relentless storm. Heated breakups were quickly followed by tearful apologies. Screaming matches were just as quickly replaced by passionate kisses. Chloe craved control, the kind of control that made Ethan feel both uniquely chosen and hopelessly trapped. She would bombard his phone with texts, dozens of times a day. One moment they'd be sweet and loving, the next, they'd be sharp and cruel. As Ethan's grades began to plummet, his parents grew increasingly concerned. They pleaded with him, begged him to stay away from her, to see the damage she was causing, but he wouldn't listen. "You just don't get it," he'd tell them, his voice filled with a desperate conviction. "She's the only one who really, truly loves me. But love shouldn't sound like a list of commands." And Chloe's words carried a terrifying weight. The night that everything changed, they'd had another one of their brutal, soul-crushing fights. Chloe accused him of talking to another girl. Ethan swore up and down that it wasn't true, but she refused to believe him. The argument raged, then faded into hours of tense, agonizing silence. And then, one final text message illuminated his screen. "End it. Tonight. Then we'll finally be free." Those words became the razor-thin line between life and death. Ethan didn't reply. He didn't question what she meant. He just obeyed. At 11:43 p.m., Ethan parked his car near the secluded lake just outside of town, the same spot they used to meet when the world felt like it was closing in on them. He sat there in the darkness, the glow of his phone the only light. Reading her messages over and over again, his hands trembling uncontrollably. Police would later discover dozens of texts sent between them that night. The messages showed Chloe relentlessly pushing him, goading him. "If you really love me, you'll do it. Don't you dare back out now. We'll be together forever, I promise." And then, nothing. His phone went silent. The stream of messages stopped. The next morning, an early jogger making their way along the water's edge found Ethan's body. His phone was still unlocked, lying beside him. The final message he ever received still displayed on the screen. "I did what you asked." The subsequent investigation uncovered a chilling and brutal truth. Chloe had never intended to follow him. Detectives meticulously searched her devices and found no evidence that she was planning to leave home. No goodbyes, no preparations. In fact, they discovered she had been casually texting another boy just hours after Ethan's death. When the police brought her in for questioning, Chloe played the part of the grieving girlfriend to absolute perfection. She cried for the news cameras, posted heartfelt tributes on social media, even delivered a tearful, gut-wrenching speech at his vigil. "He couldn't live without me," she whispered softly to the mourning crowd. "I'll never, ever forgive myself." But behind that convincing performance, the digital evidence was damning and undeniable. Investigators unearthed hundreds of text messages where she explicitly urged Ethan to harm himself. Her browser's search history was even more horrifying, filled with queries like how to make someone do it and is texting someone to end it a crime. When the prosecutors began to build their case, they gave a name to her actions: digital manipulation. Murder through a message. The courtroom fell into a heavy, profound silence as the prosecutor read the final text thread aloud. Throughout the reading, Chloe never once looked up from the defendant's table. In the end, the jury reached a verdict. They decided that her words had killed Ethan just as surely as any physical weapon could have. She was sentenced to 15 years in prison for involuntary manslaughter. When the judge asked if she had anything to say before being led away, Chloe whispered, her voice barely audible, "He wouldn't have done it if he didn't love me." They say that words have the power to heal, but this story is a terrifying reminder that they also have the power to destroy. One message. 3 short sentences. A life gone forever. This was the text that killed the story of how a teenage romance turned lethal, and how a simple phone became the deadliest weapon of all. I'm your narrator, and this is Buried Truth. Because sometimes, the most dangerous crime doesn't leave behind fingerprints, it only leaves a message. Thank you for watching. If this story resonated with you, please consider liking this video and subscribing to our channel for more deep dives into the cases that defy explanation. Stay safe out there.